What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, a little bit, some time in between. This is my last post. I think I posted last week, but jumping straight into it, man. I'm gonna say this right now, man, just to get it straight, concentrated. All right. The more and more that you focus on honing in on whom you are, like, you're going to be ruffling feathers. Like, I don't care what anybody say, you're going to ruffle feathers, because at the end of the day, people who you've been probably cool with since day one, probably, or people who you just met, currently. This even goes out for people in the future, future encounters. But that's the thing. Everybody's not really meant to grow with you or even take serious whatever it is that your area of focus in life that you're putting you're putting majority of your time, your energy in. And it really just boils down to you separating yourself from having to conform to whatever likeness or like more of a silent person, or a silent individual, right? Because we're all individuals, if we really think of it as in Western culture, right? But no, in true and actuality, you are your own individual person. You have your own interests. Like, we can all operate as a group, commonality amongst other people beyond yourself, besides yourself, really. But for society to work, we all have to be able to live within a civil society. We do have to agree to certain things on a common basis or a particular basis, so that we can really say what is what and what has structure and what has order. But when you being a yes person all your life, or at least the beginning of your life, I mean, I'm only 29, so at the end of the day, it's like I haven't really lived much of life, but at the same time, I've at least gotten to this point where, and especially in being in this whole I guess, like, I mean, it doesn't really represent my life, but at the same time, for like how other Gen Z's or like millennial, I guess, I don't know really, I mean, I guess probably say like who started from like Gen X, but kind of like that Tupac and Biggie era, like, I guess, like the life expectancy. I mean, originally from where I'm from, up north, it's like there's not a lot of people who tend to really make it, because they tend to, like, I mean, I'm not gonna say a lot of people don't tend to make it, but it's just false actualization of themselves and them gearing themselves to things that doesn't even concern them. And it's like, really, if you're doing anything to step outside of who you are, then that's the bigger question. Like, if you're looking up on your phone or asking your friend on how to be more anti-culture, right? You can put that in your own words on how you want to. I feel like you're already doing something off, or you're doing something wrong. And at the end of the day, and I mean, and utilizing anti-culture in the sense of like what you're doing to be anti-culture against yourself. So like you standing against, or you standing opposite of who you were, and or who you are, and now you are becoming who you are now. So whatever who you were, whoever you used to be. And especially too, there was nothing ever wrong with that. Like, there was nothing wrong with whom you were previously, especially if you already been doing everything in the context of doing things that are I guess you could probably say, equate to success, like common success. But being in a culture where you have to, and I feel like as a man, like you have to like there's really no mistakes you can really make. Like you have to be held to the highest degree, and I get it and I understand it, but at the same time, I don't feel as though it's applicable every time in every environment that I step in, because I see so many people. Even like I came from this one event where I was doing like photography and videography at, and really and truly, came to find out I was the youngest person that was in that room, and not by like a crazy significant amount, but like I was amongst the youngest few people that was in the room, and everybody's pretty much like in their 30s, or like really you can probably say like late to early mid 30s, whatever, or like yeah, late to early mid 30s, but really like late, like if it's early, more on the late side, so like kind of like he's still young, but it's just that this is that medium zone, and it's crazy that I don't. It's like, why should I have to conform to the environment that I'm in just to be liked? And then it never really in actuality, it doesn't really settle, or it doesn't really put you in position to really achieve more. Like you could probably like and here's the thing, I feel like achieving, if you're willing to do a total 180, and the thing about it is like, yo, if you do that a lot, like oftentimes, yo, like if it's just something that's mad drastic to like who you are, like it doesn't even resonate at all, you're gonna find yourself being in a position of doing something, and then if you can't hold that up, then you're gonna end up shooting yourself in the foot in the long term. So it's just where I'm at with everything. I rather just really focus and primarily focus on just who I am, and of course, there's things that that resides within me that I have taken the time to overcome, and everything else, and making sure that I'm putting my best foot forward, not to replicate said things when it comes to my interactions, not only just with myself but with other people, but it's just more like things that are like I'll say this, I'm a lot more protective of myself, and really meaning in the sense of when lines have been crossed, that were drawn, and that was equally accepted on both ends, being able to speak up about it and not just hold that within myself and throwing up the deuces and just being like, okay, cool, that, yeah, you go ahead and just deal with it, and that's just never the case. Like being fully getting to the point where you can not even just be fully transparent, but just be who you're supposed to be without having to suffer or place yourself in conformity. And I'll even say this too, equally the same. There's people out here who try too hard to be different. Gang, if it does not represent who you are, don't do it. If it's not what you truly stand for, ultimately from within, don't do it. You're going to find yourself to be tired way faster than anybody else. And it doesn't even matter on what you're pursuing. Anything that you pursue, you're going to have to include your essence. You're going to have to include who you are into it. You can't switch it up or make it be what was it, like that commercial, maybe it's Maybelline. Like, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like you can't pretend all you life, because like at the end of the day, it's like, here's the thing: if there is something about yourself, and I feel like this is where it only really makes sense, is when you're improving on yourself. You know, you could probably work on your vernacular, you can probably work on how you dress, you can probably work on all of these different things. But I'll always say this: you can always be inspired, but it's not for you to try to reinvent the same fucking wheel. Excuse my language. I mean, you know, have that type of vulgarity. But at the end of the day, it's just, you know who you are. Don't waste your time trying to be anything or anybody else. Whatever it is that you're passionate about. And I even say this too: the reason why you having a hard time even trying to chase your passions because of childhood trauma that you've had. And I hate really hearing this whole therapy and, you know, trauma this, and I have ADHD. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I feel like we're in an era where it's just like, we're in an era where people just don't want to be accountable or be held accountable for themselves. And that's just not my, I don't want that to be my intentions. I don't ever want to feel as though I am a victim of anything, because at the end of the day, if I'm not dead and in the ground, and I know I'm really taking our, you know, like, I don't, you know, like all these different things, like whatever people want to consider, I don't even take that as a negative thing, but you know, people are going to consider that as a negative thing. If I'm not in the ground yet, I have no reason to just act on the fact, or act on the if, or act on the thought, or you know, just of prayer. Like, I feel like at the end of the day, the idea of praying, and I'm not like the most religious person, but at the same time, and I'm not saying I don't believe in a higher power, but I'm not even saying I'm even an atheist. I'll say I'm like more like the opposite of atheist. I believe a lot of things, even within the supernatural. I've seen things. It's like, I believe a lot of things is possible. I believe that there's a possibility of anything, to where, you know what I'm saying, down to where things can be explained, and down to things that can't be explained. You know, like, and I'm only saying that because I'm aware of what I know, but I'm also taking into consideration of the things that I don't know. But at the same time, I am able to, through my experience and just living, able to decipher, you know, the things that are in between the lines that are the lies. And all I'm saying is this: give yourself the space and the possibility of becoming more, and doing more, and allowing that to really cement itself. Because if you continue to operate on having to transform and contort to environments that it's not really beneficial, but it's crowded, you're going to find yourself easily losing every single time. You may like not lose at the beginning, but you're going to find yourself losing yourself. You're going to find yourself losing yourself and losing the battle over time, because your energy is going to be depleted. Your attention span is going to be depleted. You know, you even just wanting to explore. And I feel like as a young man, like, that's very important. Like, young men should go about exploring different environments, having different experiences in life, meaning like, how do you approach or try to explore your imagination? Like, what are things that you can invent? What are things that you can like strengthen yourself on? Like, what are things that you can look into yourself and based off improving? Like what other new places can you go head and look and live? All I gotta say is this: the longer you take, and the longer you wait on going fully in and truly trusting the process of what you can do, And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm literally, I've been there already. I already been there at a position where I felt like I couldn't do anything. But I'm at the point in time right now, and this is the part I'm really explaining, it's just the fact that once you're finally at the part, or you are in the part where you know for a fact you can make that change and make that, and you be the person that is the primary focus on what you're focusing. Just like how people have side businesses, people have treated themselves, or at least encountered themselves on the side thing. And that's where the line has to be drawn. You have already lived up to other people's expectations. And I don't even say not just live up, because that's my own experience as well. But I know if you're watching this, you're similar to me. But it's like, you've already lived up to your parents' expectations. You already lived up to your siblings' expectations. If anything, not even live up, you exceeded. But every day that you wake up, you feel as though it's a brand new day. Even though it's a brand new day, you're starting on a new ass game. And all I have to say is that you don't have to be in that state. You don't need to falsify your environment and then play or run a joke on yourself, thinking as though that you don't qualify or you're not enough. Like, I'm telling you this right now, especially as a young man. Like, if you're a woman too, or a young woman, what I mean, young lady, this goes for you too, but I'm really speaking to the men. The young men, it's like older than me, my age and younger, but the point is, it's just like, bro, you've already been persistent, you already been consistent, especially if you already been, doing this on a day-to-day, consistent basis. You can't move any faster than the amount of time our living reality permits. Meaning, you are doing all best you can. If you've done all that is required of you, then give the rest of the seeds that you planted time to bloom and go through its true course of nature or true course of action. Whatever you've done during the present, whatever future that you've already done within the present, then allow the past to take place so that it can fuel your future. Because now it's time for you to come back and collect. So, with all that's being said, I appreciate y'all for listening. There's a lot of things that people shouldn't really be afraid of talking about, and I feel like there's so many other things, so many other nuances that's being spoken of, but I feel like this is one of those topics that's not really being spoke on because it's too positive for YouTube. And I be seeing my numbers and stuff like that, but keep in mind, can't say that there's not people that's here or on YouTube that views, but I'm not here to fuel negativity, bro. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, forget negativity. I only want to drop positivity and drop gems and drop the things to bring attention back to people, viewers like you, speakers like me, and that back and forth, because I'll be a listener and y'all be the speaker. But dropping and sharing actual encounters, real experience, and doing all that, and just knowing the fact that, man, share that, just letting people know that at the end of the day, you're not by yourself, and what you're going through is not something of permanence. But you have to keep in mind that you are the person who's going to change the factors and change the ambiguity of things in your life. Hopefully I'm using that word right. But at the end of the day, it's just the universe, not the universe, but our given society of laying coquettish baits in front of our eyes just to gain our attention and retain our attention to that, ultra, indoctrination in your hands. Mind the things that you are feeding. Mind the things that you are feeding your mind to grow, bro. At the end of the day, it's like if you continue putting in BS and not really filtering out whatever nonsense that's truly residing in yourself, you're gonna find yourself going through the same loop and repeat process, bro. You don't need to be some kind of thug like or thuggo or some real sweet tea guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if that's what you are, that's what you are. I mean, it's cool. I'm not upset with it or anything like that, but that's just you. But my thing is, I even see that going on social media where as a man, like as a young man, you're not allowed to be who you are. Like, you have to placate to either being some kind of thuggo or sweet tooth, and what happens is just you being yourself, a heterosexual male, a heterosexual man. But y'all made it this far. Appreciate y'all for listening. Share your thoughts. Always keep in mind, not every counter that you're going to have is going to be something that you have to read negatively on. And it's never, we don't do anything negative here, but or really mean anything bad. But at the end of the day, it's just protect yourself. You especially if you made it this far, protect yourself. A lot of people are not going to take or have their best interest, especially now, in their heart for you. So the best that you can do is take the extra precaution and take that necessary step to make sure that you're just covered on all bases. The more you do that, the easier it is for you to be all the way there. The minute that you're there, that's when you can fully give yourself the entire 100% of attention that you need. If it's something that's external from you or something internal from you, once you finally come to that acceptance and let go of a lot of old doctrines that tries to control your life to stay in this repetitive cycle of dogma. And yeah, I understand that change in your life or change in general can be scary, but at the end of the day, once you get comfortable with that scary feeling, it's no longer anything of mystery. It's more of something of commonality. So subscribe, like, share. Thank you guys for listening. Talk to y'all soon. Peace. Turn on your notifications too.